Hi, my name's Laurent. Welcome to Build, our video series about how we use design sprints at Kyan to make digital products.
What are we building?
So I'll put 30 minutes on the timer. We are making, what are we making this time? Mustang Fastback. So, because we didn't have enough time to finish it with Pete, we've got the pieces. Only one of you can really build at a time.
Well, you could do that bit and sort of, we can do the two parts of that bit.
Or we could take it in turns and like stack up the pieces. Stack up the pieces at the top of the page whilst one person's building it, and then swap every few pages.
All right, let's do
that. The kind of planning you only get from a project manager.
Exactly, yeah.
First bit.
First one done. Onto the car.
And a guy. So, one of the things we chatted with Pete about was how there was kind of a change in role at a similar time for the design team when we started doing sprints. That kind of changed to a product designer, which was, I guess, like a more multidisciplinary role. And I guess although it came a bit later, there was a similar thing with your team, because we kind of changed to, well, we looked at like product owner, product manager, and kind of did a bit of a hybrid across those two.
Well, around the same time that we did the change over to design sprints, we also sort of did a lot more around running Scrum, sort of working within Scrum, which has its set roles. So traditionally in Scrum, you have a product owner who is the vision of the product, understands where the value is. You have the Scrum Master who controls the process. And then you have the dev team, which is everyone else. But I think that...
See, talking and doing Lego is quite difficult, isn't it?
It's really hard, yeah. Scrum was set up originally for large organisations, which sort of doesn't work in the same way as agencies. So we've had to change or adapt that to work for us, which has meant that we've got this sort of hybrid role, which is part product owner, part Scrum Master. So we've got this product manager role. So yeah, it's a bit of a change, and I guess the segue into, or from design sprints, is the fact that sort of as a product manager, who is essentially the product owner for these things, then, does that go there? Yeah, no, two things there, you need to know the detail, and you need to understand where the value is in projects. And design sprints do exactly that for you, involving the client, who we see as a sort of stakeholder, and it just gets the projects off to a good start. But yeah, it's a bit of a hybrid role, which we're still working out and continue to do so sort of now. It's but as we sort of learn more about Scrum and sort of tailor it to ourselves, then sort of these roles will evolve a bit more. I think I see myself probably now more as a product owner than anything else. But yeah, there's still this process element to it that we need to factor in. It's interesting. Scrum hasn't been done very well, I don't think, for agencies. It's not set up for agencies. So yeah,
we're already having to break the mold of kind of how Scrum teams are set up, because we work across I guess you have Scrum of Scrums, but that's still normally when you're working on one particular project.
Exactly.
Normally across multiple projects with multiple people.
Yeah, and sort of the tricky part that we have is we have multiple clients who all need stuff with a limited sort of number of people to do that work. So you start getting conflicts of who's doing what and what the priorities are between clients. All of which is a priority. So,
everyone's stuff is important.
Everyone's stuff is important, and ultimately, sort of, we're an agency, so we can't shy away from the fact that we're being paid to do this work for clients. So they are expecting a level of service from us as well. I'd like to continue evolving Scrum or sort of tailoring it to how we work, and that's just an ongoing an ongoing journey, really. Same as sort of all the other things where Pete's team is trying to understand sort of how they best fit into these new processes, and the accounts team are, and strategy, UX. So across the board, it's a collective thing to try and work out how best to approach these new ways of working.
The product manager's one where we've gone backwards and forwards on it, trying to decide whether they should be in every one, or whether there's a particular type that they should be in or shouldn't be in. Where are you at with that now? What's your feeling on it?
So it's the grey line, or sort of the blurred line between who owns the detail of a project, whether that's the client partner or whether that's the product manager. Obviously with design sprints, it's a case of limiting how many people are in the room at any one time, because if you have too many people, then it becomes unproductive.
I guess that's the thing, when we're trying to aim for 7 people, then sometimes if the clients bring 2 or 3 people, then we have to cut someone to have our ideal number. And I guess, a couple of times that's been the product manager that's...
Yeah, because at this point, usually, and it might be different when we do design sprints with existing clients in the future, is there's a relationship to be built with the client at that point. And design sprints are an amazing way to build that relationship and trust with the client. So from that perspective, it's vital for the client partner to be in there. And I think we can get our heads around the detail at a later stage without being part of that conversation. But yeah, there are benefits to it, but realistically, sort of if we look at sort of understanding what's the most important thing to get out of that initial contact with the client, it's relationship building, forming a sort of a slightly longer term strategy with them as to how and what we're going to deliver for them.
And I guess that's where it can be project specific. So I think if we're doing a design sprint for a feature that we then might be doing the UX journey and creative for, but not doing the delivery of the engineering side, then it's probably less critical that we have a product manager in there. But if it's the start of a 3 or 6 month project, which includes a lot of delivery, then I think that's the time where it might be a product manager is better suited to being in that section.
And there's been some talk around, again, sort of looking at how we tailor these things to what we need, and we've talked about having people involved, well, not involved, but in the room, but not actually doing anything. So you could have a product manager or a client partner, one of the two, just in the background, having those conversations with the client, sort of between breaks, but being involved so that you can hear those conversations happening. You get the understanding of the detail, but you're not directly involved in the design sprint, and therefore it's one less person to facilitate for whoever's running the sprint. So that's another option as well, which we haven't tried out yet. I was a bit skeptical to begin with design sprints, but I've seen the benefit of when something comes into production now, there's a lot more thought up front that goes into it. There's conversations that have been had with the client that we would have been having during production, which would have slowed things down. So there's less ambiguity, there's more trust with the client, which then makes production a lot easier.
Figuring out the problems together just means everyone's on the same page. And if you start a project without that, and you're building that shared understanding whilst you're doing the project, then it's that much harder. How are we doing for time?
17 minutes.
Nearly halfway.
Smashing it.
Does that feel like it's nearly a car yet?
I'd say so. I mean, stick some wheels on there. It's done. What are your thoughts on design? I mean, how have you felt that they've gone and improved what we do?
Well, I guess in terms of impact, it's been huge. I mean, it's changed a lot of things. And I guess it was one of the first big changes we made, and then that kind of cascaded down a whole load of other changes. I mean, our process is completely unrecognisable from where it was 2 or 3 years ago. And that, I guess the type of projects we do now is very different. Stuff's much bigger. And as teams get bigger and deliveries get bigger, you kind of need more structure to make sure everything, you're not missing stuff and you're doing all the bits you need to be doing. So, and I think design sprints showed us sometimes too much process can kind of bog things down and even make it less fun. But actually, I think design sprints showed us that that's not how it has to be. And actually, I would say, the process of doing design sprints has made it less stressful, more fun, the work's better, and people are actually enjoying it more. So I think it ticks all those boxes, as opposed to quite often when you say to people, here's a big chunk of process that we're going to add to your routine. That's rarely something that makes it more enjoyable.
It's the same concept as sort of Scrum, in that it's a much more collaborative way of working. So naturally, people take ownership of different things and they buy into it and they want to do it. Do you think Ford contact Lego to say, we want our car built by you, or Lego contact Ford and say, we want to build your car?
I guess it works well for both parties, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right.
It's sort of
The
perfect marketing. Get kids into your cars when they're 6 years old.
Young and impressionable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think everyone has enjoyed being on them. I don't think I've heard any negative sort of feedback on design sprints. I think we've probably oversold things in design sprints, which is sort of part of the learning curve for us.
Well, in terms of being ambitious.
Being more ambitious, which is amazing as a sales piece for a client. If they see something sort of done in 2 days, they
sets the expectation.
Then it sets the expectation quite high, which is good. But from my perspective, when I then have to deliver sort of that sort of amazing thing, then that can be a tough ask sometimes.
Yeah, I mean it's high pace, and the deliverables you get are good. So then, I guess that expectation of every week, every 2 days, you're going to deliver me a fully working built prototype that looks amazing.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, it's one door,
second on its way.
Still, are we done?
We're pretty much done. There's some bits and pieces there.
So that's wheels.
Let's put the guys inside.
Put the guy inside.
The driver. Have we had much feedback from clients on design sprints?
Yeah. I mean, like you say, I think we deliver so much in that time. There's always that wow factor of like pretty much having a working prototype that you can test with people. What have we missed there?
What are these two bits?
It's like these. I think these go here.
Oh, they go there. Okay. Smash it all apart.
I think you're going to do it.
I think
We are going to do it.
Done.
What are these bits for?
Don't know. Pretend we use
Spares.
all the pieces.
There you go.
That is a Mustang
isn't it?
Fastback.
It's missing a sticker.
Time to refine and finesse.
Exactly. Iterate. That's the MVP version. I got my dad a Harley Davidson Lego kit for Christmas.
Full size.
about that big. Yeah, it's got like moving chain and things like that.
Right, I don't want stickers to take us over our time. How are we doing, Ben?
Yeah, about 2 minutes to go.
Right, easy. Last one. Done. All stickers as well. There we go. That's proper. That's done.
Oh yeah, it's done. Yeah, definition of done.
I feel like we can have a high five.
It's always a danger of high fives when you film in case they're really bad.
3 minutes to go. Finished ahead of schedule.
Like
every Kyan project.
Yeah, under budget because there's pieces left. Yeah.
Project Management Masterclass delivered by Chris.
PM 101.